Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. So, Putin has come out and given a very interesting speech where he mentions Trump and he talks about kind of the circumstances surrounding him in the retaking of the Oval Office. Basically, he says Trump's a good leader and he likes him, but he's really kind of disgusted by the behavior of the United States going after Trump so aggressively and in so many ways that seem criminally underhanded. Talking about the criminal trials, the trumped up charges, the impeachments, the indictments, all the way up to the multiple assassination attempts, all an attempt to keep Trump out of the White House. So Putin looks at that and says the United States is still a problem internally. And there's a lot of things that worry Putin and worry other countries around the world, that the United States every 4 years can have a completely different government and a completely different international policy. Look at what's happening right now, where Biden is ramping up the fight in Ukraine right before he's done being president. And then Trump has already said he wants to be a peace president and end the war. So one day you have, a massive escalating conflict that's on the brink of World War III. And the next day, the next leader can say, we want to end this tomorrow. Well, it's not very good or safe to make deals with the United States when you can change on a dime like that, when we become so politically divided that every policy of the last guy is bad and we must get rid of it. So Putin says he's worried about Trump, rightfully so, and he hopes he stays safe. He thinks he's smart and will do that, but it's a true worry. I mean, there's already been 2 assassination attempts on Trump. You should be worried about his safety while being president. Just because he won doesn't mean it's over. And that's a real concern. If you look at the speech, he wants an end to the war. Putin is saying he wants it to end. Obviously, he's going to want the more favorable terms. He's going to go to bat for that clearly. But he's willing to negotiate. He's willing to end the conflict. On the other hand, you have Democrats calling Trump a Russian agent. They've been saying that for years with no proof. And yet they don't want to talk to Putin. The Democrats have this weird policy of we don't associate with dictators. We don't associate with anyone we don't like. We don't talk to them. Well, you got to talk to your enemy. You got to go to the negotiating table and say, what do you actually want here? Like, what's the end goal? Is it safety? Is it the fact that you actually just want to wipe Ukraine off the map? What is it? What is your end goal? And how can we help you achieve that, or find a way to appease you enough that you don't, escalate this conflict, right? I don't think Putin's goal is to kill as many Ukrainians as possible. That may be a sub goal, but I don't think that's the real goal. I think the real goal is about Russia's security, because they're very concerned about that. They've always been very paranoid about NATO, and even before that, very paranoid about the West in general. They want strong borders. They were very concerned about Ukraine entering NATO, and so that'll definitely be part of the deal, is Trump will say Ukraine is not going in NATO, because if that happens, Putin's never going to end this war. That's his real objective. Now, Ukraine wants its land, and Ukraine will probably get, it's going to keep most of it, right, from the original country of Ukraine, but it's probably going to have to give up a couple provinces, but in turn, Russia's probably going to have to cede back a lot of the land they've taken. That's going to be all part of the deal. And I think Trump can get it done, and it seems like Putin wants Trump to get it done. He actually wants to end it. Zelensky is very reluctant to do so, but he's going to have to, because Trump's going to cut off the taps. And so what you want is a leader who can take both, very neutral, because where's Trump's stance? America first. What does that mean? No vested interest in either country to an exceptional degree. So he is more impartial than the parties who say that they hate Russia, like the Republicans. They, Lindsey Graham and all those people who detest Russia, or, the people on the left who say, Ukraine should fight to the end. We got to defend Ukraine to the hilt for some reason, even though it doesn't benefit American interests. There's no vested interest from Trump, really. He doesn't seem to have a particular side he favors, because the side he favors is human life, right? He wants the least amount of people to die fighting somebody's war for them, right? Who's suffering? Is it Putin or Zelensky? Neither. It's the 18-year-old boys who are getting their legs blown off. And Trump wants that to end. So he's going to be very neutral and impartial. He's going to be harsh. But I think both the leaders are going to accept and work with him on that, because they understand that he wants a deal and he's going to get a deal. And the more you fight Trump with the backing of the United States, the worse your deal you're going to get, the worse of a deal you're going to get. So they're going to go to bat for him. They're going to negotiate this. It's going to end. Hopefully nothing escalates between now and Trump's presidency. And that's what Putin said, is he wants it to, let's not escalate this over the next, month and a half or so before Trump is in office. So let's take it easy. Let's relax a little bit. Will they do that? I don't know. It seems like France wants to escalate and England wants to escalate, and these Western countries want to get the final coup de grace in on Russia before they're told to stop by Trump, which is not good, right? When somebody shouts the teacher's coming and you want to get one last punch in, that doesn't make you the good guy. And it doesn't even matter who started it. What needs to happen is it needs to end. It needs to end in the most peaceful way possible. Securing the most amount of lives possible. That should be the priority over land, over borders, over whatever. What should be most important is the safety of the people, and then the de-escalation from near nuclear conflict. And I think Trump's going to accomplish both those goals. I think he's going to end it and de-escalate everything on the world stage, because when the world is more in turmoil, other places are willing to spark up conflicts, right? When our attention is focused on Europe, China and Asia, they can kind of mess around more in Asia. They can maybe Africa, maybe certain countries can start fighting, a little bit of cover from the American eye. But when you're the only conflict in the world, right, you're the only one that's being paid attention to, other countries are less likely to act on their impulses, because the United States will play whack-a-mole with you one at a time. That's what we should be doing. But if we neglect our duties, if we escalate conflicts in a certain region, it creates the opportunity for other countries like China to say, well, Russia, the United States is going to war with Russia. Well, they can't fight Russia and us at the same time. They'd have to be a two-front war. So now's the perfect time to take Taiwan. And that's kind of how conflicts escalate and explode throughout the world. That's why you would get a world war. You'd get not only the alliances, but then also just independent conflicts breaking out, because no one's there to interfere and stop them. The UN's not going to go into, two neighboring African countries and stop a conflict when there's nuclear war happening in Europe and Asia. So that's the kind of thing that's like, this isn't just a one and done. This isn't just like, oh man, we can knock out this one country, Russia. It's like, if you go to war with any country in any capacity, especially the United States, because it draws our attention, there's going to be severe consequences throughout the world. And that's not even talking about things like shipping routes, resources, whatever, right? That comes from being in this globalized world that we're in, that we should really not be in. We should start disconnecting ourselves. But right now, things are so connected. If certain areas start to have heavy conflict and take massive casualties, take a lot of damage to their infrastructure, to their, natural resources, to whatever, that hurts us all. It's not a beneficial to us in any way. So that's why I don't like seeing people want to get like one last punch in on Russia, because I don't think it's going to, what is it going to accomplish? What is it actually going to do? Is it necessary? I don't think so. So we'll see what happens. I am thankful that Putin seems to not want to escalate the conflict. He wants to be the adult in the room, surprisingly. Now, this is not an advocate for Putin being a good guy. I just think that he legitimately does not want to start nuclear war. He's had every excuse to, and he hasn't done it yet. So I think he's a rational human being, maybe not a good one, but a rational one, who does actually legitimately want the best for his country. Maybe not everybody in his country, but there's some pride there in his country. There's some pride in his group of people and his, government. And so I think he's willing to negotiate with Trump, knowing that that's the best thing for all of us, is if we can get along, if we can de-escalate, if we can work something out and find out what we're really all after, instead of just what we think the other party is after, and stop acting on our impulses, stop acting on revenge, stop the cycle of violence, stop the escalation, and stop using this as an excuse to fund the military-industrial complex, to censor speech, to do all that other stuff that's been a disaster throughout the world. So that's my thoughts on this. I appreciate you watching. If you like the video, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.